Hey y'all, it's Des. Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Des and I'll be doing stuff. This is my first video that I've done in a while, and it's something new that I'm doing because I'm a little nervous right now, so like chill with the vibes. But if you're not new to my channel, welcome back. I appreciate you so much for tuning back in to see what I got to talk about, see what I'm on and what I'm up to. Again, if you're new, you may as well go and hit that like and subscribe button because I think you're gonna enjoy what I have to say, what I'm doing, and all the things that I'll be doing on this channel. And yeah, without further ado, I think I'm just gonna get started because I'm very excited for what I have for you guys. I actually have a script that I wrote that I'll be reading to you guys. This is a 7-page essay basically that I've written up for you all. I pray that you stick around to the end of the video, and I hope you learned something today because this is something that I'm very passionate about as an advocate and as an artist. So I am trying something new where I can, with my work, merge the two. So thank you, and let's get started. I started this essay on 4/20 on the national holiday, though I did not participate. If you did participate, I hope you had a good time, and I hope you enjoyed yourself. So let me get started. Sorry. So if I look down, you know, I'm just reading off the thing. I'm writing this to you to finally share my perspective of how I feel about the current law enforcement we allegedly depend on for safety. I'm aware that this is not my usual content, but I'm excited to be sharing with you my first video essay. I want to be clear that in this video there may be some imagery or footage that could be triggering, and the purpose of this video is for educational purposes only. Viewer discretion is advised. According to The Guardian, in the first 24 days of 2015, the U.S. police have fatally shot more people than police in both England and Wales combined over the past 24 years. America has a problem. What not only started from a plethora of examples of why the police are a waste of government assistance, the recent case of Rodney Hinton and his son Ryan Hinton re-triggered actually my need to speak up about the constant and consistent desire the police have to murder and harm black people, more specifically or usually black men, by which I say and agree that all cops are bastards. I wanted to start by explaining why that is and reiterate my feelings are based on facts, not just an emotional response to brutality and abuse, though that should have honestly been enough reason. The feelings come after the fact. That is the key notion here, that these emotions are not based on sole emotional response, but on the basic premise of what is right and what is wrong. In the same sense that all men are responsible for dismantling misogyny, because if you're a man, yes you are, and that all white people are responsible for dismantling racism, because if you're white, yes you are. All cops are responsible for dismantling police brutality, because if you're a cop, yes the you are. No, I do not give you props for being a good cop, for being the friendly officer. I do not give you props for not being an overreactionary police officer. That is your job. You're supposed to be a good cop. You get paid to be a good cop. You even get paid for being a bad cop. But let me get back to reading. Nor do I expect the police department to all of a sudden change because of my little YouTube video. I am here to state facts. The fact of the matter is, the police are not here to protect and serve. They are here to seek crime, not prevent it. They are here to cause, wreaking havoc, chaos, and order, and most importantly, control. When Rodney Hinton made his appearance of what I best known him for was in 2025. He made a statement to the police officers who showed up to his hearing, in my personal opinion, not to hear the verdict and show respect for the officer that was lost, but to also if not more so, show intimidation towards Hinton, to show him how many more of them there are to him. Hinton recognized his threat and demonstrated how fearless and unashamed he was to commit his act of love for his son. Hinton's son's name was Ryan Hinton. He was only 18 years old when Cincinnati police chose to shoot and kill instead of stop and arrest. They shot him through the side of his arm, through his chest, killing him on the scene. The charge against him was alleged car theft. The next day, Rodney, Ryan's father, while still in mourning, ran over Deputy Henderson, killing him instantly. While Henderson was not the officer responsible for Ryan's death, the police department, I'm sure, felt the hit nonetheless. And the officers who were responsible did not receive any charges, and actions were deemed justified, confirming that the police department will always move as one and maintain their best interests as priority, even when their actions or judgments are overly extreme. Hinton's pre-trial was set for February 19th of this year. His murder trial started this month in April, but I currently don't have any updates for his case at the moment. All I know at this moment, which is April 28th, is that he is pleading not guilty on the account of mental illness, as he stated he was not in his right mind when he made the attack towards the Deputy Henderson, which removed his death penalty sentence, because in Ohio you can't be charged with a death sentence if you are suffering from mental illness. Turn off that heater because I'm hot and angry. Anyway, a year after Hinton's arrest this year, I decided to join the many artists who made art about Hinton and paint his portrait, to not only immortalize what I think is a great example of the utmost demonstration of dignity, self-respect, and love for one's family, but to also communicate that some actions have consequences, and some consequences are made by the people when the government often does not show up for them. They take matters into their own hands, in simpler terms. The title of this work is called About Mine, and it establishes the exhaustion Black men are met with when it comes to their interactions with police and police brutality. We are tired of losing our children to those who take this shit lightly. And only then did the Cincinnati police get a small taste of what it feels like to be unjustly taken advantage of. And I quote the word unjustly in this context because Rodney's son, Ryan, did nothing to deserve his fate. Deputy Henderson, however, considering the system that ultimately killed Ryan and many like him, was part of that system that created the tension between the two communities of discussion, meaning the police and the Black community. I bring this case up not to keep saying the same message of Black Lives Matter, which is true, but to remind you that the police are not here to protect and serve you. They would rather shoot you. Despite the crime Ryan may have done, theft does not require a life sentence. I'm just checking my battery. A family is now without a son and a father because yet again, the trained officers just can't seem to tell the difference between someone running away from them or trying to harm them. Recently, I saw the 1975 film Cornbread Earl and Me. If you don't want any spoilers, I'll put a timestamp below, but it's available on YouTube if you want to see it. Highly recommend. It was a great movie. And plus, I thought it was really cool to see Lawrence Fishburne when he was a kid. I was like, I know that man. And then about half of the movie, I was like, I know that man. I looked it up and was like, yeah, that was him. It was crazy to see him as a kid because I'm like, wow. Like, anyway. In that movie, if you haven't seen it and you don't care about spoilers, I'm about to tell you what it's about. So it's about a young basketball player who aspired to get his family out the hood through basketball. And he received a scholarship to go to college for it and was known for his kindness and love of basketball in his neighborhood. Unfortunately, but not surprisingly, Cornbread was misidentified as a man some police officers were chasing, and while Cornbread was running home, was shot and killed by police. They mistaken his soda pop, the shiny object, for a gun. The same rhetoric that seems to keep being the excuse police officers have when they make these deadly mistakes. A mistake that constantly costs people their lives. To think that a 51-year-old film can capture the story of police's behavior and it's still being an accurate representation is mind-boggling. I can't fathom. It's 51 years old and it's the same. It's the same thing. 51 years of the same representation, the same excuses, the same justification for murder of an innocent life. Whether Cornbread stole a car or simply tried to get home does not and will never give justification for being shot and killed. Okay? Yet once again, the trained, and I cannot emphasize that enough, the trained officers are granted the right to overreact, to panic, and to fear for their lives, even when they are chasing the said harm and the harm is running away from them, while the normal untrained civilians are expected to remain calm, freeze, and not fear for their life or well-being. I'd like to remind us all of the history of law enforcement and why we have police to begin with. The answer is slavery or racism, if you like that word better. I know. We're all tired of hearing about slavery and racism and hatred and division and boo-hoo-hoo. Yeah, well, slavery and racism and hatred ain't tired of me and tired of us. So get over it. Oh, the privilege to be able to run from these conversations and ignore the very thing that influences our daily living, those who suffer from racism, each and every day, even in the big 26. Ignorance is truly bliss. How blissful are these gas and grocery prices, by the way? Are you having fun? Are you having a good time? Oh, okay. Anyways, we only have what we call the police department because of, you guessed it, slavery. Yes. So wow, everything is racist. Like actually, like seriously. Oh my god, yay. The quote I read during my research from the New Yorker states, American police are armed to the teeth with more than $7 billion worth of surplus military equipment offloaded by the Pentagon to 8,000 law enforcement agencies since 1997. I was born in 99. So for the past 9 years, they've been fully funded, packing, if you will. And they're not done yet. So as usual, the US reheated England's nachos, and developed what was originally the neighborhood night watch in the early 1600s. And so New York City and Philly followed up by 1700. Other places like Baltimore, Albany, New York, Chicago, New Orleans, etc. followed up in the early to mid 1800s, by which many of them developed into day watch volunteers, I might add, and established local policing systems by the 1880s. So by the 1880s, everybody was just up and running officers, ready reporting for duty. They were originally supposed to report crime and give fees and maintain order. As you can see, if you had your eyes and ears open, they have entirely lost the plot. Arguments like August Vollmer, I read a propaganda article and I was so frustrated the whole time. If you follow me on TikTok, you understand the frustration I've had to deal with. But anyway, arguments like August Vollmer, who was the first to professionalize police, the first chief of police, I think it was in like Cali or something like that, I don't remember where exactly, and his legacy being underappreciated due to his efforts to diversify and require police to be educated, minimizes the damages police have done and are still doing to people of color back then and especially today. While Vollmer may have had intention to weaken the prejudice within the police, it does not eradicate the original purpose of maintaining control over the people in an attempt to lower crime when black people were and are still considered more criminal. Even if Vollmer wasn't prejudiced and did his best, the context in which night and day watches were born was in the middle of a very aggressive society that thrived during what? Slavery! It wasn't until 1863 that black people were legally unenslaved, and even 2.5 years after that, every black person didn't even know. He wasn't chief until like the early mid-1900s, so let's not be gullible. 40 years later, you think niggas just wasn't racist no more? This notion of one bad apple is extremely dangerous and ignorant to the fact that mold spreads if it's kept in the same vicinity, right? And even then, the basket is weaved in tears and black bodies. Like, I need you to understand that. Even Jesus knew who Judas was, and while he still ate with him, look where that got him. Oh, okay. So as we continue to witness power-hungry loser mentality that the police often show, which has also changed from my mother's experience with police, for example. As a child, she would mention how police would sometimes be the friendly officer and walk around the neighborhood and be a part of the community that they were required to protect. I'm here to remind you all that the police are not supposed to kill anyone. Okay? That's not their job. Their job description never gave that. It was never giving that. I'm also here to remind you that the system we live in grant them gratitude over your life as if they gifted it to you. Outside of the hundreds of names lost by the audacity of police brutality, I had the pleasure of trying to remind an officer of the magnitude of the detriment of his actions towards regular civilians, aka hood niggas, who in comparison are not more equipped in moments of high tension, confrontation, and or fear. Hood niggas are not more equipped than police in those moments. One is based off survival, the other is also based off survival, but also training. There are procedures. But back to the script. Anyways, back to the frustrating back and forth I had with this officer. I watched the video of him talking to a group of young black youth about how a situation could have escalated to the worst case scenario. His argument was, perspective is reality. Let me first explain why that is a problematic ass statement to make in his position to those group of youth. First in general, and then more specifically in the context of someone who is capable of murdering you and not going to jail for it. Now, in the general context, this statement, perspective is reality, completely diminishes what it means to live truthfully, or as you would say, in reality. Of what it means to be real, or fact. These are the key words when defining what reality is. Real and fact. Not perspective, not assumption. Honestly, not even experience, but what is real and what is factual. When you smack someone into reality, you dismantle their illusion or trance of a false perception of reality. Like when you're snapping and clapping someone out of it, that. Now, reality is what it is. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. The sky is blue. Fact. The grass is green. Fact. The grass is dangerous. Perspective. Not reality. If my eyes were looking through a red lens, my reality would be that the grass is actually a different color. It does not change the fact that grass is green. That is reality. The point is, your perspective is not reality, but in fact, your reality. Your perception or assumption of things. It does not make it fact or reality per se. Dangerous people or entities, like white people, for instance, have the perspective that black people are lazy, dangerous, unconcerned objects and made for their convenience and service. And let's not forget unintelligent. Am I right? Is that reality? Personally, my perspective towards spiders is that they will eat me alive and kill me. Is that reality? Okay now, Going back again to this treacherous conversation I had with this officer online, I will start by playing for you all the video that triggered my response and felt the need to comment on this post. I blurred as much as I could without taking away the importance of the demonstration. I do not respect this officer's presentation, nor his response to what I was trying to explain to him, nor the people that tried to defend him by calling me names because I'm trying to dismantle this perception of, oh, the police officer just can't help himself. That kid deserves to be shot. My fucking bad for thinking kids deserve to live. Anyway, but out of the identity of the child is why my video was blurred on my platform. Some of you probably have seen this on Instagram before anyway. You can go see what he looked like if you that pressed. So I'm gonna roll the clip now and also give my point of view, pointing out some mistakes I believe are necessary to point out in his demonstration.
I want you to talk us through it.
So, boom, I'm running you running behind me, boom. I hit this little cut for real, boom.
Hold on, all right, so hit the cut.
Boom. Mind you, it's a little split right here, too. So I just try to slide it over.
Go ahead, don't do that again. Now stop at what you did. No. Pull it out real slow. Now stop right there. Stop right there. So, from my perspective, right? And hold on. Don't say nothing. Listen to me real quick. No, leave it right here. I want you to leave it right here. I want everybody to see what I see, right? Now, from an officer, look how you were looking back. You're looking back at me. And you got a gun like that. And my camera's going to see what I see. So what my camera see? I want somebody to tell me what my camera see. What y'all see right here? Huh? I can't hear you. Okay, say it one time loud. She said like you about to shoot. And so what your intentions may have been different, but perspective is reality.
Y'all saw that, right? The famous quote. My response to that video was, perspective was not reality if the intention was not to hurt you or to shoot you. I say that to say that his perspective was a false reality, by which his response was
that is your opinion.
The famous cop-out of a lot of people these days. I will not finish the quote of his response as it is irrelevant, but I will include a screenshot for the nosy folks out there because I get it. I understand. I be wanting to know shit too. One thing I do want to highlight, which helped me greatly understand that I wasn't crazy, was someone else's response to the officer saying, and I quote, your perspective doesn't make it reality. If the sky is blue, but from your perspective, it is pink, you seeing it as pink doesn't make it reality. However, it's how you understood the situation that shapes your reality, not a factual, objective reality. Which gave me hope that there are people who think out there. As you can tell, this sounds familiar. This was the same logic I used to introduce the video to you all. Just to get your brain situated to where I'm coming from, to then see the evidence, and then we're going back to the logical explanation as to why I'm saying what I'm saying. So I use this officer as an example in my video because much like the officers who shot Ryan Hinton, Tamir Rice, beat Rodney King, Freddie Gray, and the hundreds of other names that we don't even know about, police officers do not take their jobs seriously enough. They handle life irresponsibly. What the police in that room don't understand is that the black officer just explained to them that they are more of a threat to him than he is to them. If a weapon is present, not if it's being used. Ryan Hinton's murderer believes this idea as well as the officers in the film of Cornbread Earl and Me. He just told a group of young black kids, if you just have a weapon, despite running away from me, I had the right to shoot you. My immediate reaction to panic out of fear, instead of reading the situation for what it is, as if I valued life, is valid. Even as a trained officer, with a bulletproof equipment, I might add. Basically, I expect you to have better aim than me, even when your back is turned. You are dangerous. You are more equipped. You are more strategic to cause harm to me than I am to you. I wanted to highlight his response because this pattern and excuses officers like to use are never granted to the civilians that they harm. Civilians are not allowed to fear for their life. We're not allowed to make decisions that are best for our well-being. It is always expected that we assume that the officers have our well-being as a priority, yet we see time and time again an abuse of power, another life lost, and on top of that, no justice, no trial, justification, and that's it. And that's it. That officer refused to acknowledge that even that in that same split second he used to justify shooting that child was the same split second it could have been taken to get rid of his weapon, which is literally all it takes to throw something to the side. Mind you, again, the weapon would have had his fingerprints on it. Right? Oh, I'm tripping. He refused to acknowledge any forms of bias or prejudice in his decision making, even if that decision meant shooting a child. What mattered to him was being right, not acting right. While yes, it is a shame that our youth have to resort to owning weapons, and right now, that child is actually trying to turn his life around, commends to him, it does not grant police the option to shoot and possibly kill you because a weapon is present. Illegal or not, it is not a death sentence to carry a weapon. If anything, if I were a child in that room, it would have increased my fear of these officers potentially hurting me anyway. Because God forbid I have a shiny object. What you gonna do? You going, bang! Now I'm dead because you thought my soda pop was a weapon. Okay. Yes, children deserve better options. But what I don't understand is the constant villainization of young black children just because they did not think the better option was available to them. Regardless of who you find, where, what, how, that is not the life they signed up for. It's the life they were born in. And you're not going to make them criminals because of that. Speaking of my experience with police, there's a constant need or desire to be right, to prove that the civilian is wrong and that they deserve whatever outcome happened to them. I remember being at school and a police officer tried to intimidate me simply because I was parked in the wrong parking spot. I just got out of class, stepped into my car. She pulls up. So now I can't even leave anyway. She like, you know you're not supposed to be parked right there, right? I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, there's a sign. See, this y'all problem. Y'all don't be reading the signs.
Bookie, but my tuition is why you're here.
Obviously, I didn't see the sign. And even if I did, who was trying to park here? Nobody was trying to park here. I'm about to leave. All you had to say, for future notice, you're not allowed to park. I know you're about to leave. For future reference, you're not allowed to park here. Next time, see if you can find another spot. 30 seconds. Okay, thank you, officer. But instead, she tried to make it seem like I was illiterate. Like I wasn't attending a fucking university. And then, while we're having a conversation, another officer pulls up like, you know, what's the problem? I'm like,
the fuck, indeed? You need to be two of y'all to tell me I'm in the wrong spot right now?
And now he explaining to me what she just fucking said like I didn't already hear her. Talking about,
we not trying to cause no trouble. We just saying. I mean, I see your tags is expired anyway, so I really could be giving you a ticket right now, but you know.
Bro, if you want to give me the ticket or not, I hate when police do that. Like, give me the ticket or don't give me the ticket, but why are you trying to fearmonger on some shit you not going to do? I'm about to leave. You can have the spot. If it's really that crucial. There were cars in front of me and behind me. I don't see you pulling out your notepad to give them tickets though. But you saw me and the opportunity was presented to them to try and intimidate somebody. She must have been bored that day and so was he. It was so unnecessary. Anyway.
Oh boy.
Another because I was speeding and she tried to correct me about how many miles is granted past the speeding limit. Now, I'm going down the street, down a hill, mind you. The limit's 35. I'm going 49. You got that. You got that. The police officer stands in the middle of the street, arm out. I'm speeding, mind you. Another car is in the lane next to me. Gotta be going at least 53 and up. But he stops me. He stands in the middle of the street and stops me. I had to basically slam my brakes because I'm going downhill. But if I would have hit him, guess who was going to jail? And that's my point exactly. Is why are you in the middle of the street instead of in a car to pull me over? Anyways, he pulls me over because, you know, I was speeding or whatever. He's like, you know, you was going like 49 or 35 or whatever. I'm like, okay, sure. Another female officer comes up to me talking about yeah, you really only supposed to go you're really only supposed to be going like 5 over. I was like, oh, I was told 10 over. She was like, you were going 49. I'm like, I know that. Like, girl, the point wasn't that I wasn't speeding. The point was I'm granted 10, not 5. You gave me incorrect information. But you want to be right. I'm already pulled over. Give me my ticket and go. Like, mind you, they was training somebody. That's why they pulled me over. They don't really care because the cops don't even usually sit on the street that I got pulled over on. They was training a nigga. He wrote out a ticket, gave me the wrong amount to pay the fee for. Had to pay $10 more than what I needed to. Luckily, I paid it late so they didn't catch me there. But it's like, y'all are actively seeking people who are doing wrong when it's a nigga next to me doing some worse shit. But you wasn't about to stand in front of his car because you're not crazy. Point was, niggas was bored. That shit was stupid. And then he had the nerve to say, I mean, I posted this on my TikTok too. I have a city sticker on my car. He had nerves to talk about some damn city forever.
Nigga, take the fucking ticket back. If it's city forever or shit, I thought we was supposed to be gang. We not even gang, you was still giving me this motherfucker, like...
Yo, anyway, that's just another example of why they be pissing me off. She's like, but you were going for it now. Okay, that's not my point. I know I was speeding. Why you think I want to curve? Like, anyway. Then, a third one, because they just... Yo, let me tell you the story first. Mind you, I'm not even driving. My mother is driving. This is the day before the New Year. This is December 31st, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. She's at the red light, about to turn. Guess who else is about to turn? A police officer. As soon as the light changes, he got his lights on. He pulls her over and is like, yeah, do you know that, I think it has something to do, you don't have no insurance or whatever? She was like, what? I didn't know that. I wasn't aware of that. And that's on me, because I didn't pay my insurance. They had canceled on me on like the 6th of that month, but I assumed that we had a grace period before I had to find more insurance, because that's what I was on. I was trying to find some more insurance that I could afford. The thing was, tags weren't expired. Everything was great except the insurance. So at this red light, he was literally just running my tags just because he could. Right before the New Year. Mind you, I had hella paintings in the back seat because I had just picked my work up from an exhibition. So she keeps trying to tell him, like, yeah, we didn't know that the grace period wasn't as long as it was. So, like, damn, can you let us off a warning? Like, I presumed I was in a grace period. And he was like, no, I can't because I already started, like, writing the shit or whatever the fuck. And then she's like, well, I have these paintings in the back. Can I at least drop them off at home? My daughter's an artist. And then we can figure out the stuff then. He calls a lady cop on the phone, and she's like, no, like, that's on her. She should have never been right around, da-da-da-da, whoop-de-whoop, this, that, and the third. We're like, yo, you're doing too much. Like, I was told that I had a grace period while my shit was canceled. There's paintings in the back. This is my livelihood. And you can't drop them off at my house, which is around the corner. Like, she wasn't even that far from home. Like, you can't do that around the corner. I'm gonna stop this real quick because I think my camera's dying, and I'm gonna get pissed off if I'm in the middle of a story and it turns off. So, okay, sorry, I had to take a break. So I don't really know where I left off with the story, but the point was there was no probable cause of like pulling me over or even just running my tags for absolutely no reason. And when asked why he did that on the last day of 2025, New Year's Eve, his answer was because I felt like it. And that's not a reason to be messing with people, knowing that you can't really afford it. Like, my mom would be considered like an elderly lady. Like, you pulling over old women for what? And now we had to pay more money than it would have cost me to renew my insurance because I didn't have the money at the time. Like, it's not like I wasn't going to get insurance, you know? It had only been like two, maybe 3 weeks since I was out of insurance. It doesn't mean that I wasn't going to get it. Like, yes, I shouldn't be right away out of insurance, but I don't believe police officers should just be like looking for problems like that when there are people who got tag stickers that are like years old. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything was up to date with me except my insurance. Like, everything was straight except that one little thing. And then here they go like messing with people. Like, it didn't make sense. Anyways, I have reason to believe that police officers get a rise out of adrenaline rushes, the action of chasing, not the act of protecting and serving, until we can dismantle the crooked system that developed them in the first place. Now let me ask you this. Who are they looking for when searching for crime? Who are they arresting when and if they find it? Why and where are they looking? How many of those arrested do you think were actually based on the desire to commit crime or fulfill a crime? Ask Emmett and get back to me. Police have created a very well-established culture of abuse and power. They cannot be surprised that they are deemed untrustworthy. It just doesn't make sense. I leave you with this. Much like it is the responsibility of those who created the mess to clean it up, it is up to them to fix it. They ain't never made no song that said fuck the fire department. Be blessed. And with that, if you made it this far into the video, thank you so much for listening and hearing what I have to say based off of my experiences and countless other black people who have had their experiences with law enforcement, I'm sure would probably agree with me. Even though the point of this video isn't to find people who agree with me. The point of this video is to expose the truth and the propaganda that are often portrayed in the media and in programs, especially surrounding children. Like, I think there are a lot of situations where people are trying to completely eradicate how race and racism and oppression plays a part in these strained relationships that black people normally have with law enforcement. It completely doesn't talk about the situation in which, why or how these things happen or when they come about, because time and time again we are constantly giving grace to authoritative members of society, or like our leaders of society, and never those who are supposed to be like following those leads, you know? Like, we give more or less actually expectation to those who are supposed to be more equipped than those who are expected to be less equipped. And to me, that's very backwards. It doesn't make sense. Similarly to the idea that children are supposed to know more than what they do, even as kids. Like, a lot of kids are forced to grow up at an early age. That doesn't mean they're adults. They still don't really know how the world navigates. And I'm really sick and tired of the world like treating children as adults simply because they grew up in an environment they, one, did not ask to be in, and two, that they had to learn how to survive and adapt in. It's not their fault. It's not their fault. Like, yeah, every action ain't the best action, but it's really not their fault. Like, the crime rate in Baltimore is down because we built rec centers, not prisons. So the more we keep trying to villainize these children, the less it's gonna get. Like, you can't cuss people out and not be kind and warm to them and expect them to all of a sudden want to do what you say and all of a sudden want to better their life. Like, the only thing that's gonna change and cure this world is love and the desire and the act of caring. Like, that's literally it. The police unfortunately just don't do that. Sure, they'll make a joke with you and then turn around and shoot you. So I don't know. I don't trust that. I don't think anybody in their right mind would. Anybody that's understanding the history of police and police brutality, I don't think would understand that either. Because personally, I would like to strive for a society where we don't have prisons, but instead have rehabilitation centers. Though personally, the only people who cannot be rehabilitated are rapists and pedophiles. They gotta go. I'm sorry. Y'all got to be chucked out somewhere because there's no rehabilitating that. I don't even know what in your right mind gave you the thought of even thinking that you could do something like that. It's very sick behavior. Other than that, I feel like as long as we try to understand where somebody's coming from, like, sometimes that person stole the thing because they needed the money to feed their kids or to feed themselves or to feed their dog. A lot of employed people are homeless, so I wouldn't necessarily be surprised if food is being stolen, toilet paper, toiletries, things like that. Meanwhile, you have these white people are creating like fake deeds and stealing homes from people, but we're allowing that to happen though. But sure, the black man who stole a car needs to die, That's insane. So yeah, that's kind of all I really have to say. My energy's kind of like dwindled down since I had to take a break and come back, but the overall message is still the same. I don't fuck with y'all. I don't fuck with the police. I don't trust y'all. Like I said, they don't make songs saying fuck the fire department. So I mean, that is already enough evidence for you there. So if you are still a fan of the police even after all this evidence I've given you, the CIA already got you, Bookie. I can't help you. I can't save everybody. So, you know, I mean, good luck to you, because he not gonna pick you either, Bookie. But yeah, y'all be blessed no matter who you are, no matter where you at in the story. You be blessed, you be glad, and do your best and do your big one. Alright, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.